Hello, everybody. Hi, Damien. How are you?
I am well, thank you, Christina. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you too. I know that we talked about we were going to come on and do just this brief riff where we were going to say thank you to our readers and to the people who come on and listen.
Which we are going to do.
Which we are going to do, but we have some other things in store for everyone as well. So how's everything in PA right now?
Well, we had a lovely Thanksgiving dinner and some pumpkin pie with whipped cream.
Excellent. Same thing over here. So in
We're traditionalists up in this neck of the woods.
Yes, and there was no over the river and through the woods this year because all I did was walk down my stairs and into my kitchen.
There you go.
Yes,
so let's tell our audience what we've got tonight is a special treat.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I don't know how Mark feels about being my friend and neighbor, but I'm glad that he is my friend and neighbor because I can say, I saw your poem in the New York Times. Would you come on this show and read it tonight for Thanksgiving? So tonight we have as a special, absolutely unplanned guest, Mark Harshman, who is the Poet Laureate of the state of West Virginia, where I'm from. Mark has written I have lost count, 14, I think, children's books. Some of them are major favorites in this house, especially Snow Company, a wonderful book about people getting stuck in the snow and having a sort of a party and a get together, something that I think a lot of us in Northern Appalachia can identify with. He is also an absolutely astounding poet, and his book, Woman in Red Anorak, is a best-selling and award-winning collection of poetry, and I'm so excited. I just want to bring him on the show and have him talk about his work and his new poem that just came out. So, are we ready to bring Mark on?
I think we should. And happy Thanksgiving. We forgot to say this. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our WCONA audience.
Absolutely. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Christina. Hello, Damien. It's good to be here, and I join you in wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Great to have you, Mark.
Yeah. Can we talk about pumpkin pie? Gosh.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about it. Did you have pumpkin pie too?
Yes. I convinced my wife, Cheryl, many years ago. I forget how we stumbled on this, and she doesn't like pumpkin pie at all. So this is a real treat to me. But our secret ingredient is she uses sorghum, which can be a little bizarre because it sometimes gives it a kind of greenish cast, but it sure tastes delicious. So.
Oh my goodness, in place of sugar?
Uh-huh.
Wow, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to tell Tristan that my 9-year-old son made our pie for today, and it was quite
that's very cool. Yeah.
Yes, it was very nutmeggy. He put extra in. And did you make yours, Damien?
It's an outstanding question, Christina. I sliced the pie. On D night, we sliced it together.
And you sprayed on the whipped cream all by yourself.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was fine. So, Mark, tell us about this poem that you had come out in the New York Times. I was so excited to see your wife Cheryl's post about it today. And I immediately went and read it again and read some of the other poems that appeared in the article. It seemed that based on the content of some of the poems that all of you writers didn't have much time to prepare these poems.
That's right. I forget. Felice Bellman contacted me less than 10 days ago, I think it was. But on the other hand, I don't know how difficult it might be to get a project like this to fly in the Times, and the fact that they gave so much room to poetry here for Thanksgiving across the nation. My hat's off to them for doing that. Even with the short notice, I'm not complaining about that. It made my work hard because we were asked to make a statement about Thanksgiving or to write a poem. And for me, writing a poem was quite frankly easier than making some kind of statement. I don't feel very comfortable speaking for speaking for the state, if you get what I mean, in prose. Whereas if I can do it in poetry, I can at least speak a little more honestly. At least that's my hope.
Yeah, so having read the poem, I was really, really moved. And I thought, what an absolute perfect way to celebrate Thanksgiving as writers and as people who love writing by having you come on and talk about and read this poem. So is there anything you want us to know about it before we listen?
Well, a couple of things. One, it was hard to write. As I was telling you earlier, Christina, I've had a couple other, several commissioned work since I was appointed laureate, and it's not something to be honest, I enjoy doing, and I'm certainly not very comfortable writing to a topic, writing to a theme, and writing quickly. In this instance, I was chatting with another colleague of mine who's a laureate from another state. He says, "I'm not really feeling very thankful this year," and I heard what he was saying. He was trying to be honest. How does one speak in days like these? The political situation we've been through of late, and the omnipresence of the virus. It's tricky how we come to a word like Thanksgiving, and yet all the more needful that we do. And so hopefully I was able to address some of that in this poem. Also, Christina, as I was telling you again earlier, one of the little moments in the poem I realized came from the fact that about a year and a half ago, my family doctor, Dr. William Mercer, was heavily involved at that time with Project Hope, which sees to the needs of the homeless population in the greater Wheeling area. And he invited me to go with him on his rounds one night, along with Crystal Bauer, the nurse who really heads up the program, and a few other volunteers. And it was just so eye-opening. I mean, I use this phrase, sleeping rough on a cold night. And I know that sleeping rough has become kind of almost a cliched term for the way some of our homeless people live. But it was suddenly brought home to me what that rough was really like. And it is far, far more than just rough. And so that came into the poem. And of course, there's a little political resonance, but you'll pick that up with my use of color at the end of the poem. And other than that, it was just working quickly, and hopefully it came together. Christina, or Damien, is there something you'd like to ask before I read?
No, I'm excited to hear the poem.
Okay. Christina, I'll go ahead.
Yeah, let us go.
We're going to disappear, Mark, and get you the whole screen here.
Okay, great.
We'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay. The poem is titled "Dispatch from the Mountain State." Somewhere, someone's listening to trees talk in a language like song, a song that's been going on longer than time. Maybe. Here we take the maybe with the bad and the certain along with everything else. Nothing goes to waste in the heart of Appalachia. Elsewhere, behind a curtain, an old man watches his neighbor trudge through snow to bring a shovel and soup. Elsewhere, a child's racing the sidewalk home to a dinner where grandma sits in state and grace. And somewhere, someone's sleeping rough on a cold night, and someone knows how to find this man, how to find a roof, blankets, soup, hope. You see, we're still holding on here just enough, despite all we're doing wrong, holding on enough to give not only this man, but ourselves enough for which to be thankful. Even these little gestures that can rebirth a nation, reconcile not only colors like blue and red, but reconcile us one to the other. Thank you.
Wow. I hope maybe that is the theme of 2021 is reconciliation.
Mm.
After all the divisiveness, after we find out who is left standing, quite literally, when the pandemic is over, and all of these other things, maybe that should be our objective, is reconciliation. That'd be something to give great thanks for.
Yes. Let's hope we can second that motion come next Thanksgiving.
Yes. Yeah, that was such a beautiful piece.
I love the line, we're still holding on here despite all we're doing wrong. It's a beautiful marriage of the personal and the political that just makes you pause and want to carry it around with you. Such lovely work, Mark.
Thank you, Damien. It's very kind.
Absolutely. So thank you for being on. And Damien and we're so glad that you're here because we have some good news, I think, for our audience. Would you like to tell them a little bit about what we're up to while we have Mark on?
Why, absolutely. I'm going to throw a lot of the credit to Christina. This is her brainchild. And I could not be more excited. I think we're doing, I think we're doing something good. In creating a forum for writers of the region to reach an audience during these times. And although I'm doing plenty wrong, I think one of the things we're doing right is the show. And the ability to give back to our writers is one of the things that is very important to us, and also to continue to make their work more accessible. So we have, in the last week or so, set up at through bookshop software, we've set up the WCONA Live virtual bookstore, which I will. Are you going to say more?
Oh no, I was going to say, if you don't know about Bookshop, it gives back to independent booksellers. So when you buy a book from bookshop.org, you're actually getting it shipped from a local bookseller. So it's really helpful to the author because they earn money from the sale and they get their books out there, and also to local bookshops and independently owned bookshops throughout the country. The one that's nearest you is where you'll get it from, which is really an awesome way to take the focus off of Amazon and give it back to our indie booksellers, because it merges that that medium between being able to buy online and also be able to buy from your independent bookstore.
And what an important time this is for you folks to be doing something like this, because as we know, all kinds of indie things many are struggling right now. So hats off to you for doing this.
So if you do see someone on WCONA Live, you think, wow, I only got a little dose of them, only a few minutes, and I'd like to hear more, you can check out. Is that showing to everybody?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. The WCONA Live reading series, WCONA Live Northern Appalachia's literary home place, and this is our book store, and you can see books from Mark Harshman.
I see my latest picture book.
Yes, and more of your books are in there too.
I'm sure.
Last week's reader, Shauna Craig. Yes. Chris Collins. John Hoppenthaler.
John, an old friend. There's Ellen McGrath Smith, a wonderful poet. Yes.
Phil Tillman, Nancy Kragowski. And you can see that we have basically everybody. Oh, and some guy named Damien.
We just thought that we wanted to make sure that when we connect our audience to the writers who give their time to us and to our audience that it'd be a great way for them to be able to go and pick up a copy of their books, but also to help those indie booksellers that we love and believe fully in and don't want them to disappear during this really difficult time. So, yeah. So, Damien, while you're here, we might as well tell everybody about your recent accomplishment. And Mark, I can't wait for you to see this. Damien has a new book coming out. He just wrote, he has the book 40 Patchtown, which is about the 1922 coal strike in Windber, PA, but he also has this new book out. And when he showed me the cover page for this, I think I squealed or something, because I have read the manuscript, but I had not seen the cover for it. So I didn't know anything about it until he showed this to me. Damien, do you have it up on your screen?
I can pull, yeah. So this is called Fables of the Deconstruction.
Look at this.
And we have a picture of Frederick Jameson here. I make very few. I make very few guarantees, but I guarantee this will be if you read, there'll be no better book you'll read about methamphetamine addicted grizzly bears than this book.
It is very true, and it is on pre-order now. So if you want to get something right, and I swear when I read this, it was like, oh my goodness, I'm inside Damien's brain. And I don't know if that's good or not, but it was so entertaining, and I ripped through it and read it in like one day because I didn't want to put it down. So
I should add, the whole book isn't about meth. It's a story collection. One story is about meth addicted. Yeah. I don't have an entire story collection all about meth.
There's also a story in there about some mascots, some sports teams mascots, and all kinds of other cool stuff. It's definitely worth your time to pick up a copy and read this great book. So
Jesus is working as a coal miner in this book.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you will enjoy it very much. So thank you all, and thank you, Mark. And I want to say before we go, just thank everybody that tunes into the show on Thursday nights, but especially thank all of our writers who give us their time. Some of you have read your works that you had never had read them before in any other context, and you debuted them on our show. And
this is the first reading of this one, I'll tell you.
There we go. I mean,
we're making history tonight.
The gratitude that I know that we feel for being just a little bit a part of the literary conversation in Northern Appalachia, I just can't express that enough. So thank you all. And thank you, Damien, for being such a great collaborator and for coming up with the idea. I know. Serious. And for being fantastic with trying to, get all these wonderful writers to come on and working with me on this great project. We have more to come with WCONA Live coming up next week and throughout the rest of the year. Who's on next?
We've got Byron Hoot next Thursday.
Yeah, Byron Hoot. That's going to be fun.
From Clarion County, so we're excited about that, a poet. And then we've got more stuff in the rest of December. We've got a big special event coming up toward the end of December. We'll tell you more about that as the month progresses.
Yes.
Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody.
Thank you, Mark. Happy Thanksgiving.
You're welcome. Thank you both.
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Have a great night.